What's going on, Wise Take Nation? This is an MLB DFS podcast. I am your host, Mr. Paulie D, and I'm joined by a pretty special guest, boy genius, Mr. KamG333. What's going on, Cammy boy? How you been?
Doing pretty good, man. I started school 2 weeks ago, so been pretty busy with that. But good change of pace here. Kind of get head out of the books and get back to DFS a little bit. I know you're having a good night, so possibly we'll be sweating a little bit while we're doing this. Maybe
Yeah. Today was actually an amazing day. Like, I got up early AF and couldn't sleep, so I got up at 5:30 in the morning. I just started researching hard, and I've kind of had my eyes set on this. There's this massive $3,000 entry tournament, but they had some nice satellite structures into getting it. Earlier in the week, I caught tomorrow. There's a $150 222 man top 10 get a ticket into that 3,000. So I caught one of those, and I was like, I got to go after this. And earlier today I won $1,000 on $100 and another one of those 150 tickets. And they paid me out literally at 6:59, from the early slate, and I just threw it into the mostly the satellites for the same thing in the night slate, and I'm up there, man. I'm on the verge of direct tickets in and maybe another one or two 150s, but the bad news is I got the Giants, which is the worst offense in baseball. Brandon Belt, McCutchen, and Buster Posey. When's the last time either one of those guys hit a home run?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. But maybe tonight's the night. I mean, we're
used to
the DL, right? So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, Belt's a good dude. He's just been on the DL, exactly. So we'll see. And I also got Erlin and Pena going in that game in two different lineups. So positives abound. We got what? We got a 7-game slate.
Yeah.
We got football right on the horizon. We're actually doing our first preseason slate podcast this weekend. I think it's gonna be Friday for the Saturday slate. And, regular season's right around the corner. Very excited about that. Cash and DFS is on this crazy hot streak in multiple sports. He had a comma cash in baseball and a comma cash in golf last week. And for the last couple weeks, he's been really hot in golf especially. So it's fun, man. The nation is very hot. We've had a bunch of guys winning a bunch of money. It's good right around football season,
Yeah, definitely. Gotta get that money for football, so that's cool.
Yep. And then basketball too, not too far away. My favorite sport. But yeah, we got 7 games. Paulie D, as of now, has got the 2 entries into that 150. Pray to God to get me into that 3K tournament, because that would just be phenomenal. Be my little live final this year. So. I'm looking to get all the Doogie brain information you can provide me.
I'll try my best.
No pressure. So first up, we got Blake Snell and the Tampa Bay Rays taking on the New York Yankees and Masahiro Tanaka. Actually, pretty nice pitching duel. The Yanks right now are minus 168 favorites. The total is 8. Blake Snell is 9K. Tanaka is 8K. Pretty cheap. Both these guys were over 10K pretty recently. Probably means there's other pitchers on the slate that are, better, more expensive, but we'll see. What do you think about this spot in Yankee Stadium?
Well, it is not on the main slate, so we don't have to worry.
Oh, well, you could have stopped me an hour ago.
I wanted you to talk about your Yankees a little bit, and then
the Yanks, we've had a rough year. We've had a lot of injuries, and we've hung in. We're still probably going to make the playoffs. And yeah. I think if we can get healthy, get Judge back, we'll be dangerous in the playoffs like we were last year. But,
you'll be fine as long as you get everyone healthy by the playoffs. I would about it.
Yeah, especially Judge. Like we've like seen this year just how much difference he makes, and
Yeah.
you know, like
Severino, right, too.
Yeah, I think Severino just needs a little bit of time off. Like,
I agree, yeah.
The Phillies have been doing that. Like, yesterday, Pivetta got pulled after like 82 pitches. Today they pulled what's his name? Velasquez. Like, he was in a little bit of trouble, but you'd only get up 2 or 3 runs after like 64.
Yeah, they're just like, okay.
Their coach is trying not to like overuse those pitchers heading into the playoffs, Yeah. So I think Severino's, because he pitched deep into the playoffs last year. He had like an extra 30, 35 innings that you don't see like when you look up the stats.
Right.
And he's a young kid, like he's not used to that. So I think he's just like wearing out. And it's the dog days of summer. We saw Verlander get blown up last week by Seattle. Like, I'm not too concerned. We looked into it. There wasn't like a ton of signs saying that he's in trouble. But that's it on the Yanks. First game on this slate is the Chicago Cubs, who I stacked earlier today, made me some money, nice. And John Lester taking on Ivan Nova and the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pirates are minus 108, and the total here is 8.5. What do you think?
Yeah, so just looking at this quick, I mean, I think like Lester, I'm not going to pitch Lester against the Pirates, but he's been really up and down against them. He's had really good games, and then he just got absolutely like blown up by them.
So, I remember last year, I think it was like the 4th of July or the day before, he got bombed by Pittsburgh. I don't know why I remember it. I didn't have them, but
I think he lasted like literally not even an inning in that one. Like gave up like 10 runs or something in like 2/3.
He actually just saw them too 3 starts ago and got beat up.
I've seen him a lot. I feel like he pitches against them a lot. So it's like a scenario where, I mean, there's a couple guys on these Pirates that can hit left-handed pitching. Like specifically, guys that I would look at would be like the catchers. They usually are really solid plays in that mid-tier and catching spot if you get Cervelli or Elias Diaz as well. Those guys always in play against the lefty. Josh Harrison's usually cheap at second base. He's 3.8 tomorrow. I think he's in play. And you could get Marte as well against Leicester. Always has stolen base upside here with that. So I like maybe like those 3 guys, but I wouldn't do a full stack of Pittsburgh. Actually looking at Nova here against the Cubs, he's had really good games against the Cubs. If you click on his game logs here, 27, 25, 24, and 20, dating back to June 2017. So 4 to 5 games in his last 5 starts against this team, he's gone for over 20 at a 6.5 price tag in a pitcher's ballpark. Actually kind of looks interesting to me tomorrow. I'd have to look into him a little bit more, but
that is so surprising in my opinion. Like, what?
I was very surprised too. Like,
and he's getting Ks in those games. Like, he doesn't really get Ks, and like he's terrible to lefties, and they got a bunch of lefties.
I was just thinking. I was like, I feel like I'm gonna want to attack Nova with the lefties, and then I looked at like how he's done against them, and he's just destroyed them every single time. So, I would keep him in like your back pocket while we're going through this slate. 6.5. Looking for a value pitcher, I don't mind that, but at the same time, kind of like our initial thoughts here, definitely I think you could take the Cubs offense, the lefties specifically, and I always love Javi Baez as well, regardless of matchup. Dude's just a stud, can steal bases, do it all. So
he's like J-Ram light, Javi Baez.
Yeah.
There's one thing about like, stats against Cubs is maybe he's gotten lucky and caught in all games with the wind blowing in kind of situation. Because if you look, the last 4 were all in Wrigley.
Right.
And, like, that's the only thing that makes sense to me because he should not be dominating this team by any means. So we're going to have to take a deep, deep dive into that. But sure, I have no idea what else is on this slate. This is like a true first look. So we'll put him on the list for now and hope to cross him off very, very soon.
Those strikeout numbers are just surprising.
Yeah, I know. And that's not real. Like, he doesn't strike out guys like that.
And 5 1/3.
Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, maybe it was that 4th of July game when the Pirates had 12 runs in the first and the Cubs just gave up. I mean, I don't know.
Aimed it in, yeah.
I don't know. But we'll move on. I mean, there's really like there's nothing too super attractive in that park, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
I hope we don't have to come back and be like, maybe Lester's an option. You know, hopefully there's more on the slate. We got the Washington Nationals and Tanner Roark taking on the St. Louis Cardinals and Luke Weaver. This series actually started tonight. The Cards are minus 133. The total here is 8.5. Looks like there's a little bit of light rain in the forecast. Too far out to really say whether it'll impact or not, but just keep that in mind. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not going to pitch Luke Weaver. I haven't really pitched him at all this year. Just a guy always in that mid-tier, so he kind of comes into consideration on almost every single slate. But just a guy who doesn't really present any upside. Going up against a Nationals team that's really left-handed heavy, I'm actually going to want to take a look at a lot of these lefties for the Nats. I think Harper, Soto are definitely the top-tier plays, followed by like Murphy and Adams if those guys get in there. Those would be like the main four. I also don't hate Rendon regardless of splits. I'll always throw him in. I'll always throw him in a stack because he's got home run upside as well. So definitely would favor the Nats side, specifically like those two power threat lefties and Soto. And
Adams is kind of interesting because St. Louis gave up on him. You know, that's where he started, and they pretty much kicked him to the curb.
Has he been back since?
I don't know. I mean, probably, but, you know, just like a little side note kind of thing. But, you know, like if he profiles well as well, it's just like a little action. But there was like animosity. Like he felt like he had done well enough to earn time. I forget who it was that they had over him. Another guy who really didn't pan out. I think he ended up in like
Luke Voigt.
No, it wasn't even Luke Voigt. It was like Greg Allen, and then they had like another guy. But you know, he was like always like a guy that I was like, man, this guy's got power. He had good on base percentage. He had a good eye, and you know, they didn't like him. You know, like they're very like that team back then. They were very specific on like the type of player they wanted, and he didn't really fit that mold, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
So you know, but I don't really truly believe in too much revenge in baseball, but a little extra incentive. Both these teams got, you know, incentive enough to play playoff race and all. So I like having games with two teams that like have something to play for.
Yeah, I agree. On the other hand here, I mean, so Roark's been pitching a lot better recently. Just looking into him, just a guy who just doesn't really give up any hard contact, but the strikeout numbers are limited. Kind of looking into this matchup here, he's a guy who throws like 7 or like 30% breaking pitches that tail away from right-handed hitters here with the slider and the curve. I like to target this Cardinals offense with guys who kind of throw breaking balls like away. They struggle versus both those pitches. So actually, I'm a little bit interested in Roark tomorrow just with his form and like his pitch type. But at 9-1, it's a tough ask just because, I mean, it's Tanner Roark. He gives up a lot of like hits and stuff. But I wouldn't be surprised tomorrow if he got through with like a 20-25, honestly, with a little more extra strikeout upside in this matchup against the Cardinals, which might be sneakier just because I feel like they're a team that doesn't strike that much. But if Roark mixes his pitches well, I could see him having a higher strikeout output than a lot of people would think here.
Interesting. He has not faced them this year. Did not do very well against them last year, but it's definitely a play that I doubt many people are going to be on. And, I mean, he's been good lately. I can't deny that. Looking at the opponents, like, you know, Mets, Reds, you know, but Cubs and the Brewers, legit teams, and he went bonkers against the Brewers. I know the Brewers, like, when they get in the funks, they can kind of help a pitcher look better, but I respect the Brewers. I know they're your team, and then the Cubs just recently, like, I think that's actually like a good point, worth a look. No one's gonna want to pay $9K for Tanner Roark. That's just, you know, ridiculous. And Let me take a look at Luke Weaver. Like, is he starting to improve at all, or is this just like a mirage?
He's very like bland. Like, it's not gonna get you much.
Yeah.
I think if you roster him, you're like praying he gets you like 17, and then you're, like happy if he gets you 17. Like, there's really not a whole lot of ceiling here, especially during the matchup.
With this matchup, I feel like there is, because like the Nats are like all or nothing. Like, they got nothing today. Who pitched for them tonight?
Gomber or whatever.
Gomber, was a lefty. It's a little bit different story. I agree. Like, I'm just, I'm gonna overanalyze every spot.
Popular too.
Gomber was popular tonight, you said?
No, Weaver's usually.
Oh yeah. Because he's usually cheap, and it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I doubt he will be against the Nationals. He's still giving up 44% hard hit rate over his last 2 starts, 94 exit velocity, keeping the ball on the ground a little bit. I'm pretty sure we'll find better spots. I do like the same Nats bats that you mentioned, and I really don't have interest in the Cards, and that's why I think, the Roark thing is something I'll look into. He's on the list. We'll see if he makes it by the end of the show. Next up, also it's been pretty humid. Dew point's been up in St. Louis the last couple of days. That'll factor into the decision, as will the umpire. Colorado Rockies and John Gray taking on Julio Teheran and the Atlanta Braves. Did you see Acuna got plunked on the first pitch today?
Yeah.
Got hurt, had to leave, brawl. If he's out of the lineup, that's a big, big loss for the Braves because he was pretty much the hottest hitter on the planet. This game's a pick 'em, and the total's 8.5. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So Rockies on the road, like, I could see a scenario where you want to play Tehran, but for me tomorrow at 8-2, like, no way. I'm not going to attack him. I mean, this Rockies team is getting shut out right now, but they've had a tough couple run here. Pitchers the last couple games they faced Cole, Verlander. Now they're going to get Tehran. I would favor the Rockies side here. Not necessarily enough where, like, I'm going to go, like, 5 Rockies, but I feel like they'll be able to get a couple of hits, a couple of runs put together against him. Like, this lineup's a little bit better. They're getting healthier. LeMahieu's back. Their outfield's back. So they don't have guys like Tom Murphy and stuff in there anymore to really boost that strikeout upside. So I'll just cross off Tehran at 8-2. I'd actually favor John Gray. He's just a guy that we always talk about. Sometimes he has unfortunate games, but, I mean, we've probably over-harped on it all year long. Just a guy who has really good advanced statistics, keeps the ball on the ground, really good strikeout percentage, swinging strike rates there, xFIPs there, which kind of all leaned in the direction of positive regression for him. And you look
progression.
What?
Progression.
That's true.
Positive regression is like a.
Yeah, that was stupid.
I don't even know what that is, but yeah. Me and CK, we like scientifically took us a while, but we figured out that the opposite of regression is progression.
Yeah, there you go. I'm glad you guys could put your heads together.
Yeah. It took 2 of us. We almost had to, bring you in on the Skype call to figure that out. But
yeah.
In the end, we made it. We got there.
There you go. Yeah, but, I mean, I think Gray's definitely in play. If Acuna's out, it's definitely even more of a boost here. But honestly, like, on paper, I feel like the Braves lineup's more scary than it actually is. It's kind of weird saying, but I don't know. Like, I feel like a lot of times I think they're in really good spots and they just don't, like, do anything. So I don't mind attacking the Braves with, like, a good pitcher who I believe in. So I'd be willing to go to Gray tomorrow for sure.
Yeah. The Braves just had a nice, cushy home series against the Marlins. They're terrible bullpen. They're terrible starters. Like, and they went off, and, like, that's awesome. But like Gray's last 4 starts, 2 in 2017, 2 in 2016, Went for as low as 21 DK and as high as 30 DK. All four above 20. 8, 8, 6, and 7 Ks. Two of those were in Coors, like pretty impressive. Has not given up a home run to this team. Minimal hits, minimal earned runs, gotten a bunch of wins. Like, he's got good history. If Acuna's not there, like, Acuna would add a little bit of strikeout upside, but I'd prefer him to not be in the lineup than being there. And I agree. Like, when the Braves get hot, like, all right, maybe stay away from him in Atlanta. But I think this is like Acuna getting hurt could really, like, bring a team down. And John Gray's got overpowering swing and miss stuff. There will be a handful of, like, easy righties to strike out at the bottom of this order, like Swanson and Suzuki. We'll see who fills in for Acuna. I think it's going to be, like, Culberson.
Yeah.
Not very good. And, like, Freddie Freeman, he's homered his last 2 games, but, he doesn't do that all that often this year. And the rest of their guys aren't that scary. Ozzie Albies really cooled off. Like, I'm with that. Give me a good umpire too, and I'll really like that, because people are scared to take pitchers against the Braves. And maybe in the beginning of the year that was true, but over the season they've started to strike out a bit more, and they're not as hot as they were in the beginning of the year.
I agree with that. And the thing with Gray too is his K projection is going to go up against this lineup, just because they're pretty left-handed heavy. If Acuna's out, they're probably going to roll out Kluberson, like you said. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 left.
Or it could be the guy they got from the Reds, Duvall.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, give or take, but
please give me Duvall. He'll strike out 3 times.
Yeah, exactly. So either or, like, it's high, but he's got a 30% strikeout percentage versus lefties this year compared to 25% versus righties. So actually might be even a little better matchup for him in terms of strikeout upside as well against the Braves. And I would assume a lot of people wouldn't want to attack the Braves here. So I'm with that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, so far this is my favorite pitch on the slate. Tehran, I can't just cross off that fast. I don't know what else is on here. And the Rockies are just bad on the road. They strike out a ton. Tehran is good against righties. And, like, the Rockies don't really have that many lefties. Like, Blackman is so cold. I don't know. There's some hints out there that maybe he's playing a little injured. Like, Cargo, like, he had, like, a 3-game streak where, like, he hit a home run off a batter that was pitching in, like, the late innings of a blowout. And I think I really haven't been impressed with him either. Like, the rest of this lineup's pretty righty, and Tehran's pretty strong against them. I don't love it, but I mean, so far, like, Ivan Nova's the only pitcher that's gone on the list. Like, now we got Gray. And I'll be very quick to take Tehran off, but I don't think we can this fast. The Rockies are traveling from Houston to Atlanta, not the biggest deal, but, they don't impress me all that much. So
that's fair.
I think Tehran is on the list for now, and hopefully we're crossing him and Nova off very soon. Next game up, I do not have a starter on the lab site right now for the Angels. Do you happen to have anybody? I'm going to check DK.
Derek McGuire again.
Deck McGuire?
Deck. Sorry, I have dyslexia. Or whatever it's called. Yeah, for sure. So that guy's a gas can if he's in play. So that'd be good news for Texas.
Yeah, I'm just seeing if the DK app has Skaggs, but didn't he get hurt?
Damn right they don't have Skaggs. You just want me to say it.
No. I swear, dude. Look.
I'm just kidding.
That's funny though. I didn't even think about that as I was saying it to you, but I wish I did. He's on the DL, right? He got hurt after his last start, so you're right. It's going to be either a call-up, maybe it's Deck McGuire, hopefully. So there's no line, no totals, just Angels, and we'll see, taking on the Texas Rangers and Ariel Jurado in Texas, 94 degrees. What do you think? Don't have much to work with.
Yeah. So just kind of like if it's Deck McGuire, I mean, I think Texas is definitely going to come in here at as one of the top stacks, if not the top stack on the day. Going to be really hot in Texas again. We know the ball just flies out of that stadium when it's hot there. A guy like Deck McGuire, I mean, just gives up a ton of hard contact, just a ton of contact in general. Doesn't really have really great swinging and miss stuff, and doesn't really strike out lefties all that much, and is a fly ball pitcher. So looking at that, I mean, this is going to be a scenario where Texas should be chalky, but they're probably going to be chalky for a good reason here. I think the lefties for Texas are always my favorite. They just in general, just because they usually have the platoon advantage, and they're the guys that just hit for the most power in that lineup. So I'm looking at Chu, Odor, Gallo. I like Chirinos as well from the right side, and then Guzman and Willie Calhoun. I definitely have interest in. Their price is just crept up. We were getting them like super cheap, probably like 2 weeks ago. Now they're a little bit over 4-1, but I think that's what kind of will make them contrarian a little bit, is that higher-ish price tag. So, I mean, I would fire up all Texas bats if you get that matchup. If not, obviously we'll have to look at it tomorrow and kind of cover it.
Yep. I don't think they're going to be contrarian, though. Like, everyone was just loading up on Texas, that, 2-week run where they had all those high-scoring games in the 100-degree weather. We haven't really talked about other offensive spots yet that are exciting. You know, I don't, and we haven't talked about a pitcher over 10K yet either. So I don't know how hard it will be to get these bats. So far, I can't say they'll be contrarian.
No, I don't think they'll be contrarian. I said I think Guzman or Calhoun might be.
Oh, those guys. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, there's no pitcher over 10K on the slate, I don't think.
Okay.
The high pitcher tomorrow is Clay Buchholz.
Clay Buchholz. Wow.
What a time.
Yeah, what a time. What a time indeed. What about the Angel bats here against Urado? This is probably like his third professional start. He's a sinker baller. Just got lit in New York, which, it's a tough spot for a young kid.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely like the Angels bats. It's just not sexy, but get a huge ballpark boost here. The thing with Jurado is he's he does a pretty good job at keeping the ball on the ground, which kind of pulls me off of an Angel stack. I think I would look at a one-off or kind of a two-man mini stack here. Wouldn't really stack 5 guys from the Angels just because of that profile on him, almost a 2-to-1 ground
down. The Angels,
which is why you see
offense.
Which is why you see he does have games where he can shut down teams 12, 17, that happens. But he'll also get blown up too if Babbitt goes his way, and he does give up power as well. So I would look at the main suspects for the Angels that you always want to play. So you could play Calhoun, Upton, Ohtani. Those would be the 3 dudes I'm looking at. And then honestly, if you wanted to, you could, if it made the rest of your lineup something that you absolutely loved, you could play David Fletcher or something. It's not the worst thing going up against this pitcher, but yeah, I mean the 3 main guys for the Angels would be, for me, not pitching that dude at all.
Yeah, I don't think we're looking at either of these pitchers. There's no guy over 10K, so you're probably not going to need 4.8. Yeah. Not enough strikeout upside. Definitely the Texas bats more interesting to me. The Angels bats, I'm with you. 3-man or less, at max. There's just not that many good players left on this team. It's going to be Calhoun, Upton, Ohtani if Ohtani cracks the lineup, and that's probably it. Trout's on the DL, and Eric Young's actually impressed me. Maybe I could take a stab at him if I need the value, but it doesn't seem like we're going to. so far Texas is like the best offense we've seen, and that's based on Deck McGuire, the righty, facing them. If some world it was a lefty, that might change a little bit. I really only prefer the Rangers when they're facing a righty. Next game up, another pitching duel. We got the Detroit Tigers and Francisco Liriano taking on the Minnesota Twins and Irvin Santana. The Twins are minus 152 favorites. The total is 9. Tell me what you think about this.
Yeah, so I'm not going to pitch Santana at all. Maybe people might go there just because sometimes...
Yeah, righties against Detroit.
Yeah, like people like to just play pitchers against Detroit, but definitely not for me, especially on a slate like where I feel like money's kind of going to just be not as valuable as it is on other slates, just because like the pitching's so poor and not really high priced at all. So no need to go to Santana. You can definitely look at some of these Detroit bats, actually, in my opinion. He's just not Santana was pretty electric last year, but since he's come back, he's not been the same pitcher whatsoever. Giving up a lot of hard contact, a lot of home runs and everything. So I would definitely not just cross off some of these Detroit bats, because he's been giving up hard contact and giving up a lot of fly balls as well. So that in this ballpark in the summer, that's a pretty good recipe for some home runs. So I would
just faced these guys in Detroit last start. Went 6 innings, 5 Ks, 2 walks, 3 hits, gave up 2 home runs and 5 earned. And yeah, he's been a complete gas can, as you mentioned. His velocity is down almost 4 miles per hour from last season.
Yeah, that's not good. So yeah, just take the power guys for sure. Like you said, right? He gave up in 6 innings. He gave up 3 hits, but 2 of them were home runs. So I wouldn't be surprised if Candelario, Castellanos, or Goodrum went deep. Maybe even honestly, James McCann at 2.7. I wouldn't be shocked tomorrow if he hit a home run, and he's dirt cheap on DraftKings at a catcher position if you want to punt. Not my favorite play, but it's kind of just like a pricing play. A guy who has power and can hit a home run at that price is always something I'm interested in as well. On the other side, Liriano against the Twins, I would actually have more interest in. But more interest, with that being said, isn't a ton. Lefties versus the Twins is something you can utilize to your advantage. But 5'8", he's just not someone I'm going to want to pitch. I respect some of these Twins hitters enough to kind of back away with. Liriano, kind of just not a good pitcher. So I guess if you needed the salary, you could go down to 5'8", but I don't think you're really going to need it. So I'll pass on Liriano. I think you could try to pick off a home run with Tyler Austin, Sano maybe, but Liriano's pretty good against lefties, so I think I would pass on the lefties and try to just stick with those righties in the first base slot with Austin or Sano.
Yeah, and I'm almost positive he just saw these guys. Went 5 innings, 3 Ks, 4 walks, 6 hits, a homer, 3 earned, 5 DK points. I was taking a look at Mr. Santana, and Nico Goodrum took him deep, and then so did Jose Iglesias. When Jose Iglesias is taking you deep, it's time to reevaluate your profession and life altogether. So, it's tough to stack the Tigers. I will say that, I did take a deep look into them today because it was a 4-game slate, and it was slowly kind of becoming a 3-game. And a bunch of their guys' hard hit rates are on the rise. Particular Iglesias, Castellanos, Candelario, Victor Martinez, Goodrum, Aducci, and Victor Reyes, if he cracks the lineup. It doesn't seem like we're going to need a ton of these guys that are super cheap on this slate, but not Liriano, but Santana has been that bad that, it's like going on the list, and hopefully we can take it off for something better. But they'll definitely be low owned, and I'm starting to see like some positive things happening with the Tigers. Um, so maybe, and then I'm not using Liriano. I probably won't attack him all that much either. He's like a guy who, like, you know, it's like one home run surrounded by 6 walks. So like the only guy that's valuable in the stack is the whole guy who hits the home run, and it's hard to pick out who that's going to be.
Yeah.
I just would assume there's going to be better spots based on the fact that we don't have a single pitcher above 10K. I'm sure like offense is going to be no problem on this slate. So we will move on. Toronto Blue Jays and Sam Gaviglio taking on Glenn Sparkman and the Kansas City Royals. Never heard of this dude.
Glenn Sparkman, what a name.
Yeah. Lot of pitchers we haven't heard of pitching lately. The teams that are out of it.
Yeah.
Starting to bring guys up. We've seen that with San Diego. He's 4-5 on DK. Let me see if they got a little info packet on him. I've never heard of him. Doesn't mean he's not a prospect. Not that familiar. He is in the player pool. Sparkman was recalled from AAA Omaha on Monday, scheduled to start for the Royals. Set to take Danny Duffy, who's out with a shoulder. Through 10 starts, 55 innings with the Storm Chasers. The 26-year-old Sparkman owns a 4.58 ERA and 140 WHIP. He's allowed 9 runs through 16 big league innings this season. So he's already seen a little bit of big league action, looks like, out of the pen. And it has not gone very good. Not many Ks, not a ton of walks, but, about a run per inning. Is he righty?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a right-hander. We'll see what the weather's like in this park. Today was actually a pretty good hitting environment, and we saw 2 teams with not much to play for, do a little bit of scoring. Just like the Tigers, the Royals are starting to kind of like show some signs of life. Whit Merrifield starting to hit. Sal Perez, finally. Dude had like, I don't know how many total home runs on the year, but only 5 of them he's hit in Kansas City all season. Like, he's been struggling there. And finally, he goes double dong today off of the GOAT to go double dong and Marco Estrada. Alex Gordon's having a good season. And then some of these young kids like Brett Phillips, Ryan O'Hearn, Adalberto Mondesi. Again, like, this isn't probably the slate because it's not like we need that cheap value stack to, fit in your Kershaws and your Scherzers and stuff like that. So I don't think we're going to be on the Royals. I think Sam Gaviglio is actually kind of interesting on the other side. Got to see how the Royals profile against the sinker. But Sam Gaviglio, like, it's a shame because he's got good stuff and, like, he's had really bad luck, whether, it's a bad call or the Blue Jays just commit so many errors, like, every day. And what do you expect when Russell Martin's playing second base? And,
I was just going to say that.
It's like, so it's tough. Like, you never want to, like, get your pitcher's inning extended, more pitches. Like, it's just, I've been burned by Gaviglio in spots where, like, I felt like it was the right decision and it just didn't pan out well, like, 3 or 4 times. But I do like his stuff. Royals are not that good, maybe, in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think he's a maybe, like, at 6'8" with that price tag. I'm with you, just looking at his pitches. Like, he does have good stuff. And, like, the matchup's good, in my opinion. Like, yeah, I mean, they're deep. Like, the Blue Jays' defense is just bad. Like, you look at this team, the only guy who's really good at fielding is Kevin Pillar. Outside of that, I mean, these guys suck. So, yeah, that's always tough, especially if you're a sinker baller, kind of relying on, like, ground balls, like balls in play and stuff. That's a tough ask. But, I mean, 6'8", I definitely, like, wouldn't cross him off at all. He's definitely in play today. I think he presents upside as well, so I don't hate it. Glenn Sparkman, former Storm Chaser. I I like that. Glenn Storman for the Storm Chasers.
Yeah, I like that too.
Guy got a 19% K rate, 10% swinging strike rate. Mostly a ground ball pitcher, 1.47 ground ball to fly ball ratio, but hard contacts up there. 41% lefties, 36% to righties so far. Not a huge strikeout guy either. So I'd expect a lot of these Toronto guys to hit the ball, make contact, and probably hit it pretty hard. So I wouldn't cross off the Blue Jays, and then you get the Royals bullpen as well. So they're okay. Wouldn't really full stack them though. I think you could look at Smoke, Morales, Grichuk, and then Danny Jansen, 3-6. Did you know I played high school baseball against him?
Who, Randall Grichuk?
No, Danny Jansen, that catcher that just got.
Oh yeah, Dan Jansen, Mr. Goggles.
He's from my hometown. Yeah.
Oh well, he started off pretty well in the majors.
Good kid. I'm rooting for him.
He had 2 hits in his debut, and he was 2,900 on DK. And after getting 2 hits and doing well, they priced him all the way down at the minimum at 2,000 even.
Yeah.
And he hit a home run at that price as chalk. He was like 50% owned. And the next day he was 3,600. But yeah, seems like a good ball player. Seems like a good bat. I think we got one last game. Man, this is a brutal slate.
Yep.
And I don't know. I don't even know what this game brings. We'll see what you think. The Arizona Diamondbacks. The ice-cold AF Arizona Diamondbacks and Clay Buchholz taking on Jacob Nix, the rookie, and the San Diego Padres. The Diamondbacks are minus 125 favorites. This total is 8. 77 degrees in San Diego. I do know that this guy Nix is like a talent, you know.
Yeah, I was just
one of their more touted prospects, and you know he did pretty well against Philadelphia in his debut. What do you think here?
Yeah, I was gonna say he must be a pretty highly touted prospect if he's 7'8".
Yeah, he went for 25 DK against the Phillies in his debut.
Yeah, that's interesting. These are 2018 numbers, but that's very surprising. I have him as a 17% strikeout rate, 9% swinging strike.
In the majors?
Yeah, 57% hard contact rate to righties, but really good against lefties.
How many innings?
I don't know. I don't have innings on here. I just have raw data. Okay. But really,
that might literally be his one start.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, that's true. I was just looking at him and I was like, that doesn't seem like it's right. But I'll have to look into that more.
Yeah, he gave up 4 hits, 4 Ks, got the win. No earned runs, no homers, obviously. At 5-7 against Philly last week. I'm almost positive that was his debut.
Yeah.
They've had a couple rookies, so I could be confusing him with another guy, but I'm pretty sure this was the one that throws gas and has a couple decent secondary pitches.
Yeah, they had that Kennedy dude who gave up
got
7
bombed. Yeah, and then there was another one also.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think he's in play for sure. Like you were saying, I mean, the Diamondbacks are on one of their cold streaks again. We saw them in one of these at the beginning of the year, and similar to the Brewers, you can definitely attack them if they're in one of those cold streaks here. I mean, 7-8, we've seen the upside. He already had in one matchup, got 22 at 7-8. If you could get 22, I'd definitely like that. So I think he's definitely in play, and I think the ownership will probably be a little less on him just because they priced him up than if he was sub 7K. I could see a lot of people jumping on him just because I always talk about it. I feel like everyone likes the shiny new toy. So whenever there's a AAA or AA guy who gets called up right away, everyone just immediately plays him just because he has a 10K per 9 against the idiots in AAA. But if he's got high pedigree and stuff, I I would definitely find more value in that and be willing to pitch him than just some guy who is just coming up to make a spot start. So I wouldn't cross him off. And then Clay Buchholz here, going up against the Padres. I mean, I like it. He's just the highest priced pitcher on the slate. But I mean, he's been pitching well this year. Couldn't fault anyone if they really wanted to play him. I just don't know how much I'm buying into like that he's actually good. I don't know. I'm looking at stuff and it looks very like average. Like
I'll say that he has the repertoire that matches up well against San Diego, right? Like they hit hard fastball changeups. Clay Buchholz throws like all junk, breaking balls, cutters. That's gonna play well against this Padres team. I like him. Like I don't fully believe in it either. I think he's got some blow-ups coming his way, but this is probably a pretty good spot for him. And I don't know how popular he will be. There's like other options that are slightly cheaper. Like Padres have started to come alive a little bit. Like I don't love it, but I think this is where I'll go, especially if he's not popular. He just went for 19 DK against these guys not too long ago. The Diamondbacks, though, like maybe like Paul Goldschmidt's on fire, right? And they just had like a very cold like 5-6 game streak, and it just happened to be in Cincinnati and in Texas, like the two best hitting environments in the world, against bad pitching. But like, I mean, we like Texas, and like we didn't mind Detroit on this slate. Like, like obviously we're gonna have to like circle back and start loosening up. I mean, we didn't mind the Nationals, but maybe you jump on the Diamondbacks when everyone else is jumping off and frustrated. Like they can go off, with the best of them. And Paul Goldschmidt alone is crazy hot. And like, if that just trickles down to a couple of guys, Steve Souza's actually been pretty hot as well. And like, it wasn't too long ago we were saying David Peralta's hot. So it's going to come down to the profile, what this guy throws versus how they hit that traditionally, and what I think their ownership will be. But, that's the slate. And we'll do like a quick little top three to kind of summarize it now that we've seen the whole thing. It's not pretty. And Daddy's got 2 big entries tomorrow for his, his little live final in my head. So I got to make this slate work. So, like, what are your top 3 pitchers? That is nuts.
Yeah, so I like John Gray a lot. Going into Atlanta. I also like Clay Buchholz, and I have to look into Nova more, but I do like him here. Kind of just first look, kind of sneaky. I don't think a lot of people will be on him.
Yep, I will go with same first 2, John Gray and Clay Buchholz. And then I'll go with your Tanner Roark call, which I never thought I'd be saying, but I would imagine that nobody's going to go there, like Tanner Roark for 9.5, 9.1, or John Lester at 7.3.
That's an interesting roster build too. If you paid up both at 2 pitchers, I feel like everyone who rosters Roark won't pay up at the other 2 or at the next pitching position.
Yeah, and how do you pay 9.1 for Roark when you can get Gray for 8.7? You know what I mean? Or I would think Clay Buchholz is better, but
people just naturally click on Buchholz for 400 more just because he's going up against the Padres. So yeah. He'll Roark will probably have no ownership.
I would think so. I would think he'll be very low owned, and he's been doing well, and I'm not that impressed with the Cardinals outside of Matt Carpenter.
He's the only guy I ever worry about.
And the Master. It's hot.
The Master.
Yeah.
Grass is slippery out there.
It is. And he's the 3rd fastest player in all of baseball, the Master.
Yeah, it's because he's sliding on all that semen.
And life has devolved. Stacks.
So I like Texas, obviously, but if we get Deck McGuire there. I like the Nationals against Weaver, actually. Those are the top two that I genuinely like. And then maybe like a contrarian stack that not a lot of people would be on. I honestly don't even know. Like I don't really love. It would just be getting contrarian just to be different. I do like what you said about the D-backs though, but I'll let you talk about them.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna like Texas, but like I'm naturally gonna try not to get on that because I just think that's gonna be like massive chalk.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the Blue Jays against Mr. Sparkman is interesting.
Yeah.
I think the Diamondbacks are interesting, and then I'm cool with the Nationals as well. I think Luke Weaver this is a good spot, and the Nationals have kind of been tamed by bad pitching in the slate. I think twice already now, right? Like, didn't they just face Gant and who they faced today?
Number.
Yeah. So this is weird. Tomorrow's Thursday. All right, yeah. So this is the last game of slate. Never mind. Scratch that thought. But yeah, like maybe they finally get to Weaver here. Call out some home runs. Who you got?
I'll start it off with my dude Shin-Soo Choo.
All right. You can give me Paul Goldschmidt.
Let's go Bryce Harper.
Bryce Harperton. I will roll with Anthony Rizzo, who stole 2 bases today on his way to like 35 DK points in the early slate.
Stole 2 bases today? Wow. Yeah. Off of Kratz or Pena?
I think one of each, because I think Kratz took over for Pena later in that game, and he did one like real late.
That's brutal, man. That has to be on the pitcher, no way. Castellanos.
Nice. Oh man, this is just not an exciting slate at all. I'll go with Nico Goodrum off of Irvin Santana.
Is Freddie Galvis hit the scheduled home run yet?
Freddie Galvis has hit like 5 home runs this week. He's finally woken up.
That is insane. Yeah. I keep seeing his name pop up like every single night.
Yep. He does this like every year. Usually it was like earlier. I think Freddie Galvis hit 20 homers last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And this year, the move to San Diego just really hurt him. But, he's finally woken up, and it's like he's even hit a couple off lefties. Like normally he only hits from the left side, but he's hit a couple batting right-handed too. It's just been a pretty hot week for the guy.
You rostered him and Acuna every day this week.
You'd be rolling in that thing. Oh, wow. Hold up.
Got another ticket coming or what?
Oh, man. I just got a home run from Rene Rivera.
You had him.
Yeah. In that Pena, Rivera, Pujols, Puig lineup. And it has pulled me into 5th. This was one that was a little further back. I got 166 points. And first place is 185. And he is mostly done. He's got
You say Pena, Rivera, who and who?
Felix Pena, I think his name is, the pitcher for the Angels.
Okay. Yeah.
Who's, out of that game. Rene Rivera, the catcher. Albert Pujols. And then I got Puig on the Dodgers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I am 20 back of, jumping ahead of this guy. And the two guys in front of me have no one left. And second place has Rene Rivera and McCutchen. So I need like a Puig.
That pays out second place too?
No, this one only pays out first. So I got to win. I need like a Puig.
You need a Puig bomb.
Puig bomb and a little bit more love. I don't know if Pena's in line for the win or not.
Let me see quick. 6 innings. Yeah, he is.
He is. All right, that's nice.
Wait, no. That sucks. No, never mind. He was, and they gave up his lead.
All right. And then my team with Buster Posey, Brandon Belt, and McCutchen, who probably have about 2 at-bats left apiece. Brandon Belt has a double, and that's it. I need 26 points to get into first, 24 to get into second. I'm in like ninth in that one. I've fallen since I stacked the worst offense in baseball like a dodo. I thought it was slick. But we'll see. Hopefully I get there, nation. Regardless, I do got the 2 into tomorrow's 150 titty. And we're going to do it. We're going to do it big then. So, if you are watching us on one of the many platforms, YouTube, iTunes, Twitter, Facebook, Podbeam, what else we got? Twitch. Any of those, thumbs up, like, share, support. Helps the nation do what we do and continue to provide you with awesome DFS content. Football right around the corner. We will have a podcast coming out for this weekend's preseason slate. And the nation is hot. We just released the Slack chat, which seems to be a really nice addition to our portfolio of products, and it allows the members to talk to one of our various analysts at any point of the day and get some of that like one-on-one attention that you really don't get at some of the other companies. They're just too large or they don't care about that. But I've gotten to know some of our subscribers through that a little bit better recently, and it's kind of cool, to like know and then like root for your guys a little bit more than just like hoping to see a screenshot from like a random Twitter follower. So the Slack is back and better than ever. Cam, the man, the myth, the boy genius, thanks for joining me. We are out. Peace.
Yeah.